runners. We're part of this great, amazing community.
We're already ahead of the curve. Remember that. Never forget that we're still more in the 1%.
Yeah.
Definitely in the 7% for as being healthy. So.
Yeah. And then again, for those of you who are part of the group who are just not quite there yet, again, this is why you want to try to watch these and try to get out there for runs, start eating healthier so you can start to get into that feeling better, trying to keep injury resilient as we talk about this stuff each and every week, because we know a lot of you guys are doing this, which is awesome. You're inspiration to us. We also know there's some people that aren't quite there yet, and they just need that little bit of help. And hopefully the group in general is helpful. These live streams are helpful. And if you guys ever want to chat, you can always message us. If you stay later, we'll tell you a little bit about that. So again, the purpose, this is all about community. We're in some unique times right now in history. And so
we need support. We need positivity. We need all the good stuff. So
yeah, exactly. So today we're going to talk about how running can help you build mental toughness and that mental grit, which we all, again, have as runners, but we can always improve, right?
And it really translates into our daily lives too. We know how running it's not just exercise for us. It helps us in so many different ways. But the discipline we can build there can transfer into us being resilient in life too. So super important.
Exactly. And as we say each and every week, this is not medical advice. This is information that we research, that we're passionate about, that we share with you guys, so you guys can do your own research and think for yourself. It's critical to do that. Don't take our word for it. Do your own research. And then we want to make sure that you're committed to improving your life, because we are.
Absolutely.
And that's why today's quote is on there. So anyway, today last week, real quick, we talked about maximizing when you do race performance, just some ideas around race specific workouts and what you can do. Remember the 80-20 rule is critical. We're going to talk about that today a little bit. Not listening to your body enough. That was something that's going to impact you from doing some training errors. Not strength training. Oh, it's so critical. We harp on that all the time, and we will keep doing that, because as we get older, we have to focus on this as much as you don't want to.
It is a must.
You have to, and you will thank yourself 1 year, 2 year, 5 years down the road if you start today.
Absolutely.
And for those of you who have not started today, hopefully this is a little bit of a push for you to start to do that. And of course, if you're going to run, just having some type of purpose with what you're doing with a training run. Like, why are you actually doing this?
Make those miles count. They're all hard. You're all doing that work. Make the work count for what it, and give you the best benefit from it.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're going to talk about, again, how running can help you unleash that mental grit, which you already have. I think a lot of us, just human nature, we forget it from time to time. But the power of running, we don't
realize what we have, and we don't realize that, the things that it takes to run, just to even be a runner, takes a lot of this. But if you can, like I said, hone in on this and really, master this, you can go even that much further. Running takes us way further than we ever could imagine. So we always want you guys striving for that, knowing that it doesn't matter, master runner, senior master runner, you guys are still crushing it, still doing amazing things. So we just want to talk about ways to improve that, so you can keep doing that.
The good thing is it's a learned skill, right? It's something that you're not born with, and it's something we learn as we go through life, right? We already know all this stuff. It is a journey.
But a lot of times we look at the elite runners, we look at runners that are faster than us. We just think that they have something that we don't. And that is what's not true. All resiliency, discipline, all that, these are all learned skills. And they're skills that anyone can learn as long as you're willing to put in the work. They don't have something you don't have. Genetics, barring that. But this is a skill just like with anything else. No one starts out learning how to be a doctor, engineer, whatever. Lots of learning. And when you realize this part is a lifetime journey, this is not a 30-day challenge, a 90-day challenge. This is a lifetime, but you have a lifetime to keep improving, to keep doing better, to keep, it's not such a finite thing that you like all or nothing. This marathon I'm practicing for and running for, if I don't get this PR, then it's it's not a crushing devastation. You realize you go back to the drawing board and you go further. Once you realize, like I said, living a healthy lifestyle is a lifestyle, not a destination.
Yeah, it's not a one-time event either, which a lot of times people treat it that way. And the one thing is, if you think about it, is a part of a transformation, is part of an evolution that we are all going through, and that's why we have the group to hold each other accountable, to motivate, keep us accountable, so we can keep growing. And then we're going to need a different you as we get into the future. Each level we keep growing. You think, okay, I got this, and you realize, oh wait, I can go to another level.
Yeah, and it's not about like never being satisfied, never being that. It's about always wanting to what can we do? What can we get better? Can we improve? Can we, those little tiny things? And it's just having that curiosity, just having that drive, just having that initial thing. And you guys already have that because you're runners. We already know that that's possible, because you remember back when you first started running that you couldn't even do that mile, or you couldn't even do that, couple miles. And then you got to here. So we recognize that we have that and that we can do that. But once we reach a certain point, it doesn't have to end there. You can still keep trying to strive to do better.
Biggest thing is, just another way to say this is, life is not linear. Your health journey is not linear. Learning and getting better mental strength is not linear. It is a zigzaggy all the way around. It is not a straight line.
Yeah, you see those memes about success, and it's like people think it's, oh, you're climbing the ladder. No, it's up, down,
sideways.
And with anything, we know that, whether it's weight, especially with weight loss, we know with strength, it doesn't, you just every single week I'm going to get this. It's ups, it's downs, and that's a part of the resiliency that you need to build, is knowing that, being able to, it's easy when it's going up to be positive, to be all this stuff. It's being able to ride that wave when it's down, and being able to keep going. That is the true grit. That's the true resiliency and discipline that we need to build.
Yep, exactly. As you're going through this, as you're pushing to, as you're going through this evolution, this transformation, you have to give yourself grace, because it is not a linear function, right? It is going to be upset. There's going to be challenges. And so you got to give yourself grace as you're doing this, and don't judge your failures. It's human nature. We all do it, but we need to be reminded of that.
Exactly. And it's not that you didn't try. It's not that it's not perfect. I mean, look at, the great inventors that failed, it's like, I didn't fail. I just found, I got that much closer every time I tried.
Yeah, it was Thomas Edison quote. It wasn't, he had 10,000 failures. He said, I didn't have 10,000 failures. I had 10,000 ways I found out did not work, but I kept going until I figured it out.
Yeah. And it's like, what if he didn't have the grit and the resiliency, So like I said, that's the extreme thing of it. It doesn't take us that many failures to achieve this, but just know that sometimes it's not going to work out. I had that. I was training, I was doing all the things right, and then my tune-up race, it really showed me that I needed to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And you have to recognize that that's okay. It's not like all of that didn't count because this did not happen. All you have to do is be willing to say, okay, that happened. I can look at that objectively. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not defeated by that. You can be disappointed. You just can't be defeated.
Right. And that's why we have this group. So when you have those down times, which you're going to have, we already know that, then you lean on the group, right? And remember your past accomplishments, because we've all done hard things.
Yes.
Individual, whatever those are. Some may be perceived as harder than others. Some may be, but it doesn't matter.
It's all
relative. It doesn't matter
to the actual person.
Yep.
And every single person has had some event in their life where, when it first happened, you're like, dear God, how am I going to get through this? I don't suspect that none of you have never come to that point where you're like, you have that panic feeling of like, wow, can I actually do this? But then you always do. And you always get past it, and you always wind up on the other side. So knowing that you are always going to wind up on that other side, you can see these things as okay, didn't go as I wanted. It didn't, quite work out, but I'm going to learn from this, and I am going to give myself enough time and have the patience to know that if I just keep moving forward, if I keep developing that discipline, this is what resiliency is about, is developing that to be able to ride that wave, ride of the ups and downs, and being able to still commit and still do the work, and still you will make it happen. But you got to give yourself grace during it. You can't beat yourself up. That can't be part of it. And you have to learn, and you have to give yourself enough time. Most of the time, we want these big things. We're capable of doing it. A lot of times we just don't give ourselves enough time to actually accomplish it. That is a huge thing. Being able to pull back and recognize that if I just give myself more time, that I can actually do this. So always be willing to look at the drawing board, be willing to go back, and be willing. That is everything. Evaluating is everything. And sometimes you got to pivot.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a great time in the next bullet point about just take notes and reflect when you have something where it didn't work out. Just use common sense and think, right? And have patience, as Patty just said. So take some notes, reflect on what maybe happened, give yourself grace, and then realize, okay, I may have to pivot, I may have to adjust, but let's keep moving forward.
Exactly.
And that ties into, you got to stay positive, because you're going to have those moments where it's not going to work out.
Yeah. And we tend to always, we are hard on ourselves, especially runners. You tend to first think it's like, why didn't I just suck it up? Why did I, at mile 10, why didn't I just crank it out? Why, it's like we always jump to that negative part of it, when that's what can really, those are the moments that teach us. Though you don't learn anything from it all just going smoothly and having no obstacles. We only learn and develop strength from when it doesn't work out, when you have to figure out something different, when you have to change something. That's this whole process. How it works out is developing strength, is developing resiliency. So you just have to always keep in mind, you can look at something in a positive way, even if it didn't come out how you wanted. You did not get that PR. You did not get that. Sometimes it's going to be like, you just didn't give up. You just didn't stop when half your mind was screaming, you don't want to do this. This is hard. This is too hard. You want to stop. You want to, we all have that dueling thing between what we want, that time that we want, or that outcome we want. And then our body's saying, no, or our mind's saying, that's, it wants to end the suffering. So when that balance doesn't go the way you want, know that you can learn from that. It is teaching you things. And it just means you just need a little more skill to get through those times.
Yeah. And don't go to the negative. Again, it's easier said than done, but we just have to try to this is why you want to stay positive at all times. Just try to keep, focus on the what ifs. This is why I love this quote. It's like, start thinking, and when you start to go negative, because you're going to in those moments when you're running, even the professional racers have said, like, they're running and they're getting that moment. They're like, maybe if I just run in that ditch, then it will force me to stop, right?
Yeah, the pain will end.
The pain will end, right? But think about the what ifs. Like, what if I actually finish? And not a what if I'm going to, but what if I actually beat my time? What if I do all these things that I didn't think I could do? But what if I actually do that? Just think about that, which is going to change your mindset. It's going to just keep going and get you off that negative pattern.
Yeah, that's the critical point, because and knowing that everybody, even the top people, still have that battle, still have that protective mechanism that our brain has that doesn't want us to suffer. And it's not about killing yourself. It's about developing that grit of being able to push yourself to the limits that you have, and reach your full potential. And that's what it's about.
Right. And again, but that's going to build that grit, which is going to keep you moving up to that point when you're going to have those battles, right?
Yeah.
So we say this a lot, but it's just so true. You got to follow the 80-20 rule, again, with grit and resilience, right? Knowing when to push hard and when to back off. There's going to be moments for each of those. Your body's going to tell yourself,
But I mean, that's what discipline means. That's what we've all known those runners that are like, that go hard. I knew most of the people I knew were really fast runners. I had, how many times do they say, I just can't run slow. I just cannot not push that way. Those people were the ones that were getting injured. Several of them are not runners anymore because they could not dial it back. They did not, that they could not take, whether it's their ego or their drug, whatever it was, that they could not. And that's another part of having grit and resilience, is actually having the discipline to run those easy miles at a true easy pace. And for those really fast runners that like to push it, like to PR and do all that, if you don't have that part of it, you're going to be either in an injury cycle or you're going to beat your body up so bad. And that's when running becomes not the healthy part of running. You can be resilient, you can crush your goals, you can do all these things if you follow that 80-20 rule. And that means having the discipline to be able to run the slower paces, know when you need to push it in that amount, and being able to decipher the difference.
Right. So again, enjoying the process, having fun. It's a process. It's not linear. It's a journey, right? We're doing those steps every day. And the one thing, and Patty and I were talking this morning, is I took a couple of days off because I'd gone to the gym, get a couple runs in with the heat here in Texas, and you got to recover. And I did. I made a choice to recover for a day. I think it was 2 days. And man, that third day, I felt like a different person because I was stronger, right? So I let my body recover. So you have to let your body recover, and you have to make that decision for yourself.
And and it's like, there's no overtraining. They say there's only under recovering. So do that. But you do have to have fun and enjoy the process. I mean, are the hard workouts going to be, oh, you're jumping for joy? No, but it all can't be a grind, because if it is,
you are going to quit at that point.
That's not, or it's not going to be what it needs to be. It's not going to be developing resiliency. It's going to be tearing down. You can't always be tearing down. And it does have to be fun. Running should be enhancing your life. It can't be sucking the life out of you, because when you're pushing too hard all the time, it will affect, because we've all probably had moments where we've done that. And then you're not the nicest person to be around. It is affecting the people around you. You are, I mean, it spills off, because we don't run in a vacuum. So remember, never lose the joy of running.
Yeah. So one of the things is, if you're building that grit, again, whether you run races or not, it's okay, right? But practice, and this situation is practice a race specific condition, which means practice the mental tools when you have those moments. So again, even if you're not doing a race, but when you have those moments, you have to practice these skills. You just have to.
Yeah. And even if you're not training for a race, you're still doing longer runs. You're still doing that. If you are training for a race, your training is your practice for your race. We talked about that last week, the race specific things. Those are the things that get you ready for your race. Now, they're small. They're part of the 20%, not part of the 80%, but they're done in the right amount of it is what's going to give you, like I said, it's going to give you that knowing on race day that you've trained, you prepared, and you can put it all out there. You can, because you've practiced doing all that. You have that confidence of, I have done those really hard workouts that I was at the beginning thinking, nah, maybe I don't know. They're hard, but they have to be doable.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to push yourself. We just said not, make sure. But again, you also have to push yourself, because if you're not going
There's a place and a time.
Exactly. Now, I love this quote because it's so true, from the great Usain Bolt. He said, competition, if you're running a race, is the easy part. The work is done behind the scenes. It's that day in, day out grind.
Exactly.
Which is what we're really talking about here. And that's when the work is done. That's when it's hard. But when you get to that point when there's competition, whether that's in an actual race or even daily life, you're going to be able to overcome that where you couldn't before. And you're like, wait a second, you're going to have that moment of, I couldn't do that before, or this is easier than it was before.
Or you've practiced it and you're like, I got this, because
exactly.
I practiced it. The more you practice something, the more you, when it comes to battle or when it comes to your race or when it comes to that event, you've been there, you've seen that, you've done that. So you have that. Having confidence is a huge part of being able to, when you show up on race day or when you for that event, being able to do it. And you should have that confidence because you've been practicing it.
You put the reps in. It's all about reps, right? You got to put the reps in no matter what that is in life, whether it's your nutrition, whether it's running, whether it's strength training, you're putting in the reps, and that's going to build resilience.
Absolutely.
Got to embrace the challenge, right? This is a challenge and you have to embrace it, right? So if you don't, you're just going to quit, and we don't want that, right?
But it's, you have to experience, if you want a big goal, if you want a PR race, you want to do that, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to take you that mental thing back and forth of, I want to stop, I don't want to do this, you're going to start to hit that critical point, and you have to watch your form. You can't succumb to, you're not having physical pain to where you're hurting, but you're hurting because it's hard. If you can stay relaxed, and that's a hard way to think of it, but what do we tend to do? If you're holding your water bottle, you're gripping it. If your shoulders are tensing, your form is starting to collapse or whatever, you need to shake that off, because that's going to suck that little bit of energy that you need to push harder. So relax into that discomfort and know that it's going to happen. And then pick your shoulders up, put them back, try to breathe a little bit through your nose. Just try to do some things to take you to calm yourself down, and know that I have practiced this. I have finished that workout, even though I was feeling like this. I've been there before. I can do this. So you have to relax yourself and trust that you've trained enough to be.
There's different ways. Try counting just to get something to relax, right? Because in the end, most importantly, you just don't ever give up. Don't ever, ever, ever give up. And that's why we have the group to support you. We're all here. This is all about community right now. We're in some challenging times. This kind of rolls up to higher level. That's why running is the vehicle that we're using to keep us mentally clear, to build that grip, to build that resiliency, and to have all of us supporting each other, right? Which is critical right now, which goes back to tying it back to, if nutrition is everything, it's the foundation, right? Because you build upon this. If you're eating the wrong foods when you're younger, we thought, hey, I can go run because I can do that. I'm going to run so I can eat whatever I want to eat. Now we realize if we're older, you can't do that. You just can't do that, right?
I did that and got fat.
We did that and it caught up to us, right?
That didn't work out so well.
And now that we know better, we're doing all these things. So we know there's people here that just kind of are stuck that little bit because it's overwhelming. We get it. We've been there, guys. We know what that's like. So if you're struggling, you want a little bit of help, you can go to runtips.us/call. It's on the bottom of the screen right now. You can go there. We can help you guys get started. We've been there. We offer this just to help you guys out because we just feel for you, because there's so many people that we know are just stuck and they can't get going because they need that. And now is the time.
If you're overwhelmed, and
they're overwhelmed. Yeah.
We don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed, but this, you have to do this. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to be strong. We have to be healthy. It matters what you eat. It matters how we take care of our bodies. We've got the discipline part. We're building that resilience. We're doing all that, but you need to hydrate, use those electrolytes or whatever, but you have to put good food. You can't ask your body to do all this, push yourself to be able to do all this, have that resilience, have that ability to put it all out there for your races, and then not fuel your body right. It's a critical part of this. And remember, running has to fit into your healthy lifestyle. Healthy has to be the top part of the priority, is your health. And it's not that you can get away with, I don't care because I'm a certain size or whatever, or I've always gotten away with this, or I can eat whatever I want. It's, how do I want to fuel my body so I can give it the most, respect and honor your body. respect. We say about respecting the miles. You know, those are hard. That's high impact on our body, but we do it. But we can do it smartly. We can do it in a way that makes us better, makes us stronger. And that's what our food needs to do. It needs to be making us better and making us stronger. So,
and all this stuff ties together, guys, so we can stay injury resilient, right? We've said this time and time again. We're in our 50s. We are our high school weight. Why? Because we know what to eat. It starts with nutrition. Then we can keep running. We can build strength so we can, as we get older, we can still enjoy this and stay as injury resilient as possible. And that starts with the foundation is the nutrition, right?
Always.
And you have to have that. So with that, we'll end it here this week.
Yes. But I know it's summertime. Just make sure you're hydrating, make sure you're keeping up. Your fuel needs are going to increase. They're going to, know that your water intake is going to increase, and getting those electrolytes in, because you're not just sweating out water, you're sweating out water and electrolytes. So you guys have all been sharing that you're doing that. So keep on doing that. We can't get that wrong. Remember. So keep being awesome. Like I said, this is the challenging times to keep running through the summer, but we're all doing it, and we're all going to do it safely too.
Because we've got mental toughness, right? So runtips.us/call if you guys need some help. Runtips.us/call. And with that, we'll see you guys next week.
Happy Saturday.
See you guys.